Hello and good evening to all my viewers. My name is Delphine. I am a graduate student of Liberty University, Lynchburg, Virginia. And I am studying Human Services, Marriage and Family Counseling. And today, I will be presenting my interpersonal project on HSCO 508. And during this project, I'll be talking about my overarching goals, how to enlarge communication, my background, interpersonal communication barriers, and some action plans to enable me become a future empathetic and a level 1 listener. Next slide. Before proceeding in this project, I humbly wish to define communication according to Stewart. According to Stewart, in building bridges, not walls, communication can be seen as a continuous, complex, collaborative process of verbal and non-verbal meaning making. Next slide. On the next slide, I'll be talking about how to enlarge my conversation. During the course of this study, I was made to understand some strategies or ways on how to enlarge my conversation. It is said to be a process or a time for one to be open and honest in a dialogue or a conversation. This is so to enable you to give an advice or directive to the speaker in a conversation rather than being distracted by thoughts in my head or in our heads. Next slide. On this next slide, I'll be talking about some of the areas to enlarge my conversation. According to my findings, I am a level 2 or level 3 listener. This is to say that I listen to what I want to hear when someone is speaking to me, and at the same time, I hear words, but I'm not really listening or paying attention to the speaker. However, I wish to be at the level 1 stage of listening in future, to be a very good and empathetic level 1 listener. Next slide. On this slide, I'll be talking about some of the few solutions I found that could be helpful to me as I proceed in enlarging my conversation in future. Some of the solutions I found that will aid me are to be able to have a free mind from distraction as I listen to others while they speak to me. Be aware of my internal thoughts, listening more intent to others as they speak to me. Sometimes try as much as possible to take down some notes so that at the end of the conversation I can ask some relevant questions for clarification. Next slide. On this slide, I'll be talking today a little bit about my background. As we all know, we all are humans, and we are all uniquely created by God, and we have some specific aspects in our life that make us to be very unique. I am an African born in Cameroon. I have 5 brothers, 2 sisters, and I happen to be the second daughter of my family, though I am the second to the last. I am soft-spoken, but very effective in my speaking. I am kind-hearted, gentle, compassionate, emotional, and I'm very affectionate. Some of the benefits about me are: I am trustworthy and reliable, which have helped me thus far in keeping a good and lasting relationship with peers, friends, at school, at church, and everywhere I have found myself. Some other aspect about me that sometimes keep me crazy or makes me feel really, very bad about is that I am easily misunderstood by friends. I think this is all because I am very naive, emotionally involved in my relationship with others, and at times I'm very empathetic. At the end of the day, I find myself in pains. And once I'm in pains, I become so fearful in keeping up with a relationship. Next slide. On this slide, I'll be talking about my blend. According to the 4 temperamental model of human behavior, I came to find out about my behavioral blend. My specific blend is that I am a CD or a DC blend. This is to say that in spite of my specific and unique features, I can be very demanding, though I am direct, and I can be very cautious, caring, and very careful as I deal with people in any relationship I find myself. Next slide. On this slide, I'll be talking about the way I think and feel, and the decisions I take, and the way I relate with others. Going by my blend, it shows the way I think and feel are both personally driven by my emotions, and I am a very emotional thinker, and I reason with my heart and not my head. I think what is expected of me from friends or people that I meet in life is to be very influential through my charisma, support, and warmth. Most time I can be very sympathetic and try to take up others' burden upon myself. In making decisions, I as well have great passion about helping others, even if it hurts. My goals of doing this is because I really wish to make sure people see themselves very special in every situation they find themselves, and as well I try as much as possible to be very effective in my decision, that people will want to follow me because of my genuineness and love for them. My relationship with friends, I can be very involved in feeling about others' pain that mostly get me into trouble. And when I get into trouble, I become so scared. And this is because I have the desire to be friendly with all people around me and try as much as possible to avoid confrontations or hurts in my relationship. Next slide. On this next slide, I'll be talking about some of the expectations of me from people. I think this is just because of my look or something. Many people see me to be very inspiring, active, submissive, outstanding, perfect people person, task-oriented, less relational. I guess this is because of the warmth and smile, or the auras that goes around me when I do stuff. This is the real me. On the real aspect about me, I am truly a people-oriented person, though more comfortable alone than being in a group. I am reserved, and at the same time, I'm outgoing. I have good expressive skill, though very quiet, and at times I am shy to express them. I'm inspiring, influential, submissive, soft, but I am highly sensitive. Next slide. On this next slide, I'll be talking still on my pros. I am a very passionate person, and I'm passionate about making others feel better about themselves or their situation. Talking about my leadership skills, I am purely emotional, and relational when dealing with people. I enjoy a healthier environment over an antagonistic one. Some other aspects of me which can be seen as some of my cons are: I spend much time relating with others than acting, and I'm very much concerned with closeness in all my relationships. And very importantly, I try my best to put details, discussions, or issues aside to avoid hurts. Next slide. On the next slide, I'll be talking about some of my barriers. In all of the barriers, being too tolerant and forgiving, biased or judgmental in listening, not judging before hearing what the other person has to say, trying not to create an opinion based on what I think before having heard what the other person has to say to me, not thinking about what I have to say or what I want to hear when I am listening to someone, making an effort in saying engage in the conversation without preparing my thoughts, listening to errors, or being ready to argue my point as regard to the conversation. Being a passive listener and emotional overloaded, causing difficulty in thinking, acting, and relating with others. Next slide. On this slide, I'll be talking about some of the barriers that I have come across in the study of this course to enable me achieve my goals. Some of these barriers are being considerate towards the feeling of the others as well as myself, putting the talker's need before mine, writing down thoughts, ideas while listening to the talker, listening before reacting or engaging in any conversation, listening before reacting or engaging in every conversation around me to reduce external pollution as much as possible, and try to make it easy to focus your attention to the listener. Creating an environment that enforces safe sharing, being open and accepting to any upcoming distraction and disagreement, being vocal about doubts. Next slide. On this slide, I'll be talking about some of the noise pollution. Some of the noise pollution include features both internal and external. Both internal and external pollution are destructive noise that can be disruptive, distracting, and detracting from regular functioning, which may hinder one from being able to be a good listener or an empathetically one listener in future. Now, I'll be talking about some of the internal noise pollution and ways to combat them. Thus far in this program, I have come to find out some of the internal noise pollution to be internal thoughts, emotional listening, unshared opinions, diverted attention, biased listening, being tired, trying to hear what I want to hear. In some ways I have come across to combat this pollution can be seen as follows. Consider the importance of timing. Avoid being critical and judgmental. Listening to underlying meaning of what was said to me empathetically. Try not to solve the speaker's problem for them. Next slide. On this next slide, I'll be talking about some external noise pollution and ways to combat them as well. Some external noise pollutions include mannerism of talker's tone, accent, loud noise around us, other conversation going around in the building or the environment, room temperature, time pressure, and clock watching, which is very distracting when someone is speaking or talking to you. Some ways to combat this and stay focused are seen as follows. Pay focus on ideas and try to take some initiative. Work on listening and take meaningful notes. Stay open-minded and try to analyze the non-verbal. Resist external distraction and be critical of contact and not the delivery. Next slide. On this slide, I'll be talking about some of my action plan that I have found to help me achieve my goal in future to become a level 1 and a good empathetic listener. Some of my action plans include to develop a better listening habit, being cautious on the way I deliver information and attentive to the non-verbal signal transmitted by other persons, being fully engaged in the listening process and allowing the conversation to become real and sometimes uncomfortable and not being alarmed by it, being open, receptive, responsive, and fully devoted to the other person to allow them to feel important and know that they matter at all times in the midst of the conversation. Putting myself in other person's shoe, thinking how I will feel, do or react in the situation and allowing them to express themselves more better and ask very relevant questions at the end of any conversation. Next slide. On this slide, I'll be leaving you, my viewers, some thoughts on enlarging conversation. Before I say goodbye to you or say thank you to all of you, I wish to say a very big thanks to my professor who have helped me thus far in this program and have enabled me to gain more knowledge on how to enlarge my conversation, and the person of Dr. Gina Brecker. The thoughts I want to leave with you, my viewers, today is that effective listener remains that words have no meaning, people have meaning. The assignment of meaning is to a term is an internal process. Meanings come from inside us. And although our experiences, knowledge, and attitude differs, we often misinterpret each other's message while under the illusion that a common understanding has been achieved. And at this point, I want to say thank you, my viewers, for listening, and I believe that this project has not only gone far to aid me in enlarging my conversation, but as well, we also help my viewers and my listeners to also be in the same level with me, an empathetic level 1 listener. Thank you and God bless you. Bye.